covering the world of professional wrestling. From post to post, a show for the busted open nation. This is the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, Front Row, Debhausen, and Tony Justice.
What's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to Nation's Corner. I am Front Row. Joining me, as always, is Debhausen and Tony Justice. Man, what a week. I'm super excited to get into all kinds of stuff. We got, one of the best weeks in wrestling in my lifetime. You guys had this amazing time last week in Philly. I do want to get into all that stuff. So, how was your weeks besides the Philly stuff?
Work, and more work.
Same.
As always.
Yeah, it seems I'm just always busy, always on the road, Like the old Metallica song goes, wherever I may roam, there you go.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in week 3 of the new job. Everything's going good, but Wednesday was my 50th birthday, and I just want to thank everybody from wrestlers and the Nation members and just friends and family, and it was overwhelming. A lot of people reached out, which was pretty cool, and huge thanks to my wife, Mrs. Front Row, and Trenda. I woke up Wednesday morning to a surprise. Trenda flew all the way from California to surprise me and hung out for the last 4 days, and it's just been, we had so much fun watching wrestling and smoking cigars and maybe drinking a little bit too much, but it's a topic for a different story. But we had a lot of fun, and I'm super grateful for everybody in the Nation and our friend group. COVID sucks, but it gave me my group of friends. It gave us all each other, so at least that came out of it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's thank you guys. Thank everybody for all the birthday stuff on Wednesday. It was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Anytime, brother.
So let's you guys did so much stuff in one day. It seems like there were 100 stories that came out of one day. And just for folks that are watching, I'm not going to ask these guys to tell anything. I know telling tales out of school. They get to spend some private time with some of the hosts and stuff. But I do want you guys to share some of your experiences, like the meet and greets and the shows, and just I don't even know where to start. Deb, where do we start?
God, the whole day was just amazing. It was an extremely long day for me. I was on vacation in Ocean City, Maryland, and I decided to cut my vacation a day short to go to Philly. And then I just went home from Philly because it was closer than going back to Ocean City for just a half a day. So I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and left the condo at 5:15 to get to Philly at 8 o'clock. And then didn't get back home till 1 a.m. So yeah, it was a long day, but so much good stuff happened. It was an amazing day all in all. Getting there and waiting for everyone in our group to arrive. And then, standing in line outside the ECW arena, chatting with other people in line, making some new friends. And then
real quick, Deb, give us a quick rundown of the people that were in the group.
Okay, so oh God, I don't even remember. Let me pull up one of the pictures. So it was.
I know Neil was there. I see Neil in the chat. What's up, Neil?
Yeah, Neil was there. Trenda was there. John from South Jersey was there. Of course, the one and only Tony Justice was there. And then we had, who else was here? Of course, my other half, Seth, was there. Elder was there. Of course, Chris had to make a grand statement and be there first thing in the morning as well as I did. Then we, and then the main attraction, Scotty from Long Island.
Shout out to Scott.
Yes, shout out to Scott. He does so much for us, and he is just the coolest. Scotty was hype all day. Scotty was very hype on Adam Cole's theme song. Listening to it over and over and over again. And even sending us videos on our drive home late at night of him listening to Adam Cole's theme song on repeat.
Oh no.
So so that's Scotty. And then we met a few new people there. We met Tantalizing Tony. We met Sip and his girl. Everybody was amazing. We chatted with some people in line. We chatted with some people during the meet and greets. So yeah, it was amazing. I got to meet John Silver and Alex Reynolds from the Dark Order. I got a picture and a signed 8x10 from them. I got, I didn't grab it. I got the Darby Allin AEW figure with the TNT belt and the skateboard. That was the only figure I really wanted out of all those lines, and I have yet to see AEW figures in Walmart. So there was a chance that I could actually have that. I met Ref Aubrey. She was amazing. We met RVD, and I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry. What's RVD's girl's name?
I can't remember it right off the top of my
God.
head.
Well, yeah.
We met both of them. They were great. Got a picture with RVD.
Katie Forbes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, RA.
Thanks, RA. So we had a great time at the meet and greet, just walking around, looking at all the stuff, saying hi to everybody. It was just an amazing time.
So I want to get both of your feelings on this. So what I heard that you guys were very welcomed by Dave and Bully, and that they were very appreciative of the whole group of Nation members coming out. So, Tony, what was that like, when you got there and you saw them, in person? I know you've met both of them before, but.
Right. They got there about, the meet and greet started at 10 and they got there like 12:30. But they were right there. As soon as you walk in the room, they were right there. Their table was right there. And everything seemed to be centered. They were the center of the whole room, it seemed, right in the front. Mm-hmm. And they were sitting up their table and stuff. And of course, Ariel was there, and I said hi to her, and Abby was there, and I introduced myself to her, and she's sweet. But they were sitting up their table, and so they was speaking to us while Bully was setting up his table. He said hi to all of us, and he started setting up his stuff. And when they got everything set up, Bully goes, "Okay, man, so he looked at Dave, and he goes, how are we going to start this? What we're going to do?" And they were like, "Well, I was kind of going to follow your lead." And Bully was like, "Oh, okay, I see how it is." And Bully was like, "Okay, so just to be, fair all across the board, we'll just do $50 for combo, pick an autograph. Whatever you have, we'll sign it, and we'll take pictures with all y'all for $50." And that was an awesome thing. And I mean, LaGreca was, of course, in rare form. He was like, he found out we were going to go, to the diner, right? And he's, "We're going to the diner. We're going to the diner." And he just walked out, all the way down the line. "We're going to the diner." It was so funny. It was so funny. But, I mean, I was so I don't care how many times, that I am around LaGreca. He is just an amazing person. His energy, is there, and he is definitely an entertainer at heart. He's always doing something to pop somebody, or he's doing something to make someone laugh. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
it's always interesting to hear you guys tell these stories, and people that have met Dave. He's very appreciative of the Nation and the positive energy that people bring, especially at these types of conventions and get-togethers.
Right.
Yeah.
And we definitely brought the positive energy for him, because he definitely needed it. long drive from Jersey down to Philly, and then have to go back the same night. He definitely lived it up when he was there. So
You guys confirm
but another-
that Tony did lose his cheeseburger?
Yes, absolutely. I was sitting at the table with them.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dave
volunteered.
saw tantalizing Tony's burger and was like, "Ooh, I think I want that instead of my pancakes." And he took his burger. Yeah.
See, I only take people's fries. Dave takes entire burgers. So I got to work my way up.
So look, you could actually call LaGreca the Hamburglar.
Exactly. It's more of a fair trade than a theft.
Yes.
Wow.
So who are the? So I know we got a lot of stuff to cover, but I want to know like who, besides Dave and Bully, because I know you guys got to spend some time outside of the convention with them as well. Who are some people, like one or two people that you got to meet for the first time that you were really, happy to get a chance to say hi to?
Tony, I'll let you go first.
Diamond Dallas Page was my number one. Once I found out he was there, me and Chris was like, "Oh, we've got to meet him. We've got to meet him." So we, I was over with Chad meeting Abdullah the Butcher, and he was getting a fork put to his head, and I was taking the picture, and so my phone kept blowing up, and it was Chris, and so I got done taking the picture. I checked my phone, and Chris was like, "I'm in line with DDP. I'm second in line. I'm almost there." And so I made a mad dash to her. And as soon as I got there, we were at the guy who takes the money. And so we paid for the combo, picking an autograph. And I got an 8x10. And I want to show it to you. It's right here on this wall. And it says, "Yo, Tony, do your DDPY or else." Bang! Because the reason he said that is because when I got up to meet him, he was getting ready to sign it, and I said, "DDP, I have to be honest with you, brother." And he stopped what he was doing. He looked right at me. He said, "What's up, man?" I said, I've got your DDPY app downloaded to my phone, but I have to do anything on it." And he said, "Oh, what are you waiting on?" And I said, "Man, I just can't get started. I don't know. It's like I don't know where to start." And he took time to explain the app. When you log on, you go to pick this, and it'll take you 12 weeks to get through the whole list. But when you do it, you're gonna thank yourself. He says, "Man, I'm telling you, you're not getting any younger." He says, "You're at the perfect age to where you can on top of this." And so then he signed my autograph. And so that's what that means. And we took our picture. And then after we took our picture, me and Chris are standing there, and there's another picture taken by his people of DDP just sitting there preaching to us about the app, about DDPY. Mm-hmm. And he actually gave me and Chris 30% off the first month just to try it. And I'm like, wow, man. And so when we walked away from him, he shook our hand, and we walked away. We got like over to the side of the table, and me and Chris just embraced. We were like excited, right? So one of his people, he says, hey, excuse me. And so I looked at him. He says, "Do that again." And we hugged again, and he took our picture for whatever they were taking pictures for. And so it's going to be on something. I don't know what, but I don't know where to find it.
That's
but
cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
for folks, I see folks in the chats are all talking about the yoga. I've been doing it for like 7 years, and it totally fixed my back. Like I had a bad back, and when I don't do it for a week or two, like I can feel everything starting to like wrench up and really tighten up. So, and I've told you guys for 2 years now, like everybody should be doing it, but that's just,
I've been doing DDPY on and off for the last year. It does really, really work.
Yeah. So what about you, Deb?
Well, like I said, I met John Silver. and Alex Reynolds from Dark Order. RVD though was the main thing that the main person that I wanted to meet and speak to. We waited in line for a little while for him to waited till he got there. But it was well worth it. We got a picture from him. We had a short little conversation. It was amazing. He is one of the coolest guys. And then we mostly just kind of like had fun just walking around and chatting with different people and saying hi and just kind of seeing what merchandise was set up at all the tables. We just had a good time walking around.
That's cool. So I want to take a moment and put you guys over, because if you guys, for folks who saw the tweet earlier, our tweet about tonight's show, and it was all over social media this week, there's a photo of you guys in that iconic mural, in front of the iconic mural in the 2300 arena, in the ECW arena. And I know you guys were texting with a lot of us in the group who weren't there, saying, oh my God, this is happening. Bully had hyped this for a couple of weeks before the event, saying this was his goal for the day. Like, he wanted to get the Busted Open Nation in that bathroom, in the restroom in front of the mural, and take that iconic picture. So, Deb, tell me a little bit about, without going into, whatever details, but like how that came together and specifically who took the picture.
Okay, so we were kind of waiting for the convention to die down a little bit, till a lot of people started leaving so that Dave and Bully could step away from their table. And when everything was dying down, we all kind of just said, hey, gather everyone to get to the bathroom in a few minutes. So we all walked in there, and for those of you who have never been there, when you walk into the bathroom, you go around a little corner, and there's two rows. One row is the stalls and the urinals, and the other row is just kind of like a ledge area where they could stand to get changed and put up their bags, and then the mural against the wall. So when you're standing at the mural, you can't see the stalls. It's just on the other side of the wall. But you could certainly, if there's someone in there, you certainly say, hey, just so you know, there's women coming in. So yeah, we all gathered, and then, much to my surprise, the amazing and wonderful George Napolitano walked in with his camera and kind of directed everybody where to stand. Obviously, shorter people in the front. He said, kind of move over here a little bit, and then he snapped a few pictures with us. And it was very surreal to not only my first time being at that arena, not only be there knowing the history of that building and specifically that mural in front of on that bathroom wall, to be standing there with some of my closest friends, with some, with an ECW legend, Bully Ray, and then have one of the most famed wrestling photographers in history take our picture. It was just an extremely surreal moment.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely had a moment of jealousy, but I was just like, you guys were sending all these great pictures and messages, and for those of us that weren't there, we were just so excited. So much cool stuff was happening. Tony?
That's how I felt when you guys were in St. Louis.
Yeah, I shared a moment with Deb after the picture was taken. Okay, so we're in there, we're taking the picture. George walks in, and like she said, directs us and tells us where to stand, who needs to be in the front, who needs to be in the back, blah, blah, blah. And so the picture was taken, and we were all having laughs, and Bully was laughing, after it was all over with, and he told us, thank you so much for being here and for making this possible. And then I walked out of the bathroom, and my emotions got the best of me, because the levity of taking an iconic picture in front of the ECW mural with all of my closest friends, with Bully and Dave, with Jordan and Paula taking the picture, like a stair step of this is awesome, this is awesome, no, this is awesome. And then when I left that bathroom, I just started bawling, and I mean, I just couldn't control it. And Deb was standing right there, and I grabbed her and I hugged her, and sitting there hugging for like seemed like 20 to 30 seconds. Just I'm sitting there, I just couldn't control myself. And right after that is when we took the picture that was taken. Right after that was the picture with Dave, with me and Deb on each side of him holding the Nation's Corner logo. That to me, that that I'm still recuperating from last Saturday. It's like it took all the energy that we had it was like one moment after another moment after another moment. And it seems to be every time we get together, that's what happens. Moment, and that's why we're sitting here talking about it now. I mean, we had, Philly, even the Guns N' Roses concert, it wasn't a wrestling related thing, but still you have us getting together and things happen. Moments just happen, and I'm like Front Row said earlier, the pandemic brought me, the silver lining of this whole thing is that it brought me all of you, all the nation that are my closest friends. And I couldn't imagine doing life without y'all.
Yeah, and to your point, Tony, like how many times now, even just this year, that we've been to shows, either individually or as a group, and we meet more and more and more Nation members. Folks in the chat, people we haven't met in person. How many people do we meet in St. Louis? How many people did you guys meet in Philly who were like, oh, hey, it's you? And it's just this like, and then you see people event after event. You talk to them on Twitter. They become part of the group. They become part of the Nation. To the point where I have people showing up at my birthday from across the country. I mean, this is the stuff that happens.
I thought there was straight from her house to your house by now.
It feels like it. It feels like there should be. But no, because and I really would like, and this is something we need to get better at. I would love to see more Nation members posting social media clips or pictures or whatever from the different events they go to, so that we can retweet them. So that, the folks that follow us that have maybe a bigger platform and would be really uplifted by seeing us as an entire group out there doing stuff. I know last weekend and then this week and then next week I'm going to PWX. A bunch of us from the Nation are going to PWX, and Suzuki's going to be here and Archer's going to be here. And then we're going to Baltimore as like a huge group of Nation members, and then WrestleCade, and then Atlanta, and that's all just between now and the first week of December. We haven't even talked about all the stuff for next year. So I encourage folks to post stuff and tag, the Nation's Corner, tag me, tag Deb, tag Tony, whoever, tag a friend, whatever. But yeah, let's get out there and keep doing some cool stuff. So I'm really glad you guys had such a good time. I do want to actually talk some wrestling. This was a crazy week. I don't think we should spend a ton of time on Raw, but I'm going to say it. Raw was the best Raw I've seen in probably a year, maybe. I mean, it's been a long time since I saw a Raw that was this cohesive, had good stories, good matches, and we had a couple of moments that were like, okay, that was really cool. And I know, Deb, you said you've sort of been migrating away from a lot of the WWE stuff more towards AEW. So yes. I don't remember if you said you saw Raw this week or not.
I did not know. I watch Dark Elevation on Mondays now.
Okay, so let me just describe one thing for you. So Shayna and Nia had they had a match. They had a breakup. Like, they're finally done as a team. Mm-hmm. Shayna beat the living crap out of Nia. I mean, like, some stuff that, as a wrestling fans, you're looking at going, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's real and what's not real. Like, I think I know, but then you watch and you go, I don't really know. And Nia was screaming like I've never heard her scream. So it was really well done. We finally got a real good look at the NXT Shayna that we've been missing. And I know, Tony, like, we were on Zoom when she did it, and everybody stopped on Zoom, and we were watching going, oh, wait a minute. This is what we wanted.
Right. Yeah, I mean, everyone's been wondering where is that Shayna Baszler that was in NXT? Well, I think she came back. I think she's back.
I think so, too. I'll be interested to see what they do next. but it was pretty cool. The other thing I did want to mention, Reigns, Lashley, and Big E had an amazing match. Those guys tore the friggin' house down. It was really cool, and the way that Reigns won made total sense. Big E shouldn't be losing to Reigns at this point, so it made sense for Roman to beat Lashley in that way in a triple threat. But the other thing was Charlotte and Alexa, and Charlotte and Alexa had a promo battle. I don't know what you call it, but it's been getting real. It's been getting real edgy, and I thought they did a really good job of Charlotte sort of. It feels like they're guiding Alexa away from the supernatural character and back towards, maybe not her old character, but maybe a new version of her, because they let Charlotte really make fun of the fact that she was playing with dolls and sitting in a swing and all that stuff. So I thought that was pretty good, but we don't have to spend a ton of time on that. I did want to just ask your opinions on, for NXT, the new look and feel of NXT 2.0. I was willing to give it a chance, and I was like, all right, we'll see. The first week was okay. This week was really good. Like, I'm starting to feel like they're doing a good job of dialing in the balance between the veterans and the new talent. And they're not just having new talent in matches, like they're in big spotlights for, on the mic, in backstage segments. We saw Andre Chase do this Chase U, which I wanted to ask you guys about. I know you guys didn't see all of it, but the segment was him backstage in a university setting. He was sort of in a professorial position, a teacher, a lecturer, and he starts yelling at a student, and he starts dropping F-bombs, and they're bleeping them out. But I'm like, even on AEW, I don't really see that kind of cursing. Mm-hmm. And he dropped like 4 or 5 of them, and then took it to Twitter. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel like they're really going to go after this 18 to 49 demo. It's much edgier than I thought, because the colors led me to believe that they're headed in more of a family-friendly direction, and that is not where they're headed. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on all that stuff.
So my opinion after actually seeing the set and seeing the feel of the show, like you said, our first impression of just seeing that they changed it to make it very colorful was that, it's going to be more kid friendly, more family friendly. That does not seem the case. It seems to me that they're definitely going for more of a teen, early 20s type of feel, type of demographic. The old NXT was that grungy metal look and feel, and that, frankly, as much as we all love metal and rock music, young people do not listen to rock music, unfortunately, very unfortunately. So, they they are clearly going for. I work with a bunch of 20-year-olds, and while I'm sitting at work listening to Metallica in my headphones, they're listening to Cardi B and all these other rappers that I have no idea what their names are. So it definitely seems like NXT is going for that demographic, the people of the age group who grew up listening to rap and hip hop, and that's the music that is so dominant in that culture.
Yeah, I think that's evident with the focus on Hit Row. Like, they have a legitimate album out as a group, and they're 4 really good wrestlers, but like they're cohesive as a unit. Their promos are on point, and they're bringing an interesting vibe to it. Tony, I know you didn't see this week, but you said you saw last week. And what do you feel about the overall vibe?
I like it. It takes me back to watching, the Saturday morning when WWF was on Saturday mornings. And they're making it, or character driven, putting emphasis back on characters. You've got Braun Breaker, which is Rick Steiner's son. He, and what I don't understand is how come they're not making any reference to him being Rick Steiner's son. But regardless, he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him. He's got a good look, and he moves just like his dad in the ring. So I'm anxious to see what happens with Braun Breaker. But overall, the show, it has a good feel to it. I'm glad the plexiglass is gone in the crowd. It just has a good look to it, and it translates very well on television. It's a definite improvement from the Capitol Wrestling Center.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that it was fine during the pandemic. It was nice to see people. It was nice to see and hear an audience, because that was at that time they were only getting the Thunderdome on Raw and SmackDown, so NXT had an actual crowd. I'm like, all right, this is refreshing. But then after a while, and I think this has to do more with the fact that the crowd, it's a specialty crowd. They're there by invite only. They're there every week, but they have to take like an hour or two bus ride to the event, go through all the COVID screening. And by the time you get to your seat, you're kind of worn out, and you're there every week. So you're sort of jaded to the action, right? They're not people who waited 3 months or 6 months to see this show. They were there last week. So it's really hard to get those folks pumped up. But it is still the same building. So
Yeah.
They just did a really good job. And the new Titantron too makes the entrances feel more important and more cinematic to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
and the colors really pop.
They do. Mm-hmm. And to Tony's point, like Braun Breaker this week had a promo. He had, I think, 2 or 3 times he was on camera. He's really good on the mic. Like, I was surprised at how good he was. He's good in the ring. He's got a good look and all that stuff. Yeah, he's reminiscent of his dad, but I wouldn't look at him and think that he was a ripoff, or a cheap knockoff. Right. Like, he's got a lot of his own stuff going on. And on the mic, man, he was really good. So I definitely can see why they're giving him a big spotlight. Just a couple other things on NXT. So they actually cut this. So Joe Gacy cut a promo in the ring in a sort of business casual attire about this. The ring is a safe space. And he launched into this sort of, I don't even know how to phrase it. He talked about microaggressions and, finding comfort. And it was very touchy-feely, therapeutic kind of stuff that you see some people rail against on social media. And I think they got a lot of backlash for it because they took the references down from their social media, and it's not on the replay. However, I have DVR and I did see it. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was very mild. Like, you could see they were dipping their toes in the water just to see like what the reaction was going to be. Apparently they didn't like the reaction. Oh, yeah. Quick shout out to Trenda. Trenda, we already shouted you out at the top of the show. You have to watch the replay. But thank you. Thank you again to Trenda, who flew like 24 hours it took her to get here. And that was after only being home for 1 day after being in Philadelphia, flying home, going home for a day, and then coming here for 4 days. So, Trenda, you're the best. We love you. But yeah, so I'm really happy with the new NXT. They also have a good balance of like some of the new people. My major gripe with the show this week, and I don't know, because you guys will remember from previous weeks, from the last week, this new toxic attraction with Mandy Rose, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane. I don't mind the idea of it, but the execution of it feels very tacky. 3 women all dressed up in leather. All right, we've been there, done that. We've seen all that. And Mandy Rose cut a promo that was not good. The crowd was not having it, and she was really struggling to get past their boos and past their like jeers, for lack of a better term. Gigi Dolan took the mic and did really well. Like she brought it right around, and she was on point. But neither Mandy or JC had a good promo, and the segment felt flat. They challenged the women's tag champions to a match. That's Zoe Stark and Io Shirai. I mean, good luck, right? So then they're 2 of the best out there right now, and they're a team. So
yeah.
And I know I didn't feel it at all. I'm not a big fan of where they were going with that. And so I do want to move on to a bunch of. There was so much good AEW stuff. For me personally, since I saw AEW here in Charlotte, and the energy that they had and the Attitude Era feel without all the crappy stuff, without all like the homophobia and racism. It just feels so good. Like it feels so energetic when you see it on TV or in person. And I know, Deb, you're going to be going to a show soon, right?
Yes, I'll be going to Philly in 2 weeks. And I'm incredibly excited for the show. I'm going to do my Darby Allin face paint. It's gonna be awesome. We went to the first time they were in Philly, which was the third ever episode of Dynamite 2 years ago. And basically from that moment on, I was like, yeah, this is my thing. I love AEW shows. Like you said, the energy is just insane. The atmosphere is ridiculous. I can't wait to go.
Yeah, that's going to be so cool. And this week was a big week. Like we saw, the Grand Slam. They recorded a bunch of stuff on Wednesday, and shout out to Mongrovian Mike, who's in the chat. He was there at the show, and he seemed to be having a good time. We talked to him last night on Zoom. He looked pretty wiped out, so hopefully he's rested up from his adventures out there in Arthur Ashe Stadium. The opening match between Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega might be my favorite Daniel Bryan match or Bryan Danielson match. And it definitely is my favorite Kenny Omega match. I know he's had these 45-minute, Okada Omega, awesome, incredible matches, 35, 40-minute, like epic 5-star Tokyo Dome classics. But this match had like so much psychology, and you could feel Bryan Danielson's fingerprints all over it. I don't know. What did you guys think of this opening match?
Tony?
Man, what a way to kick off a show. I mean, you start off the show with that good of a match. I mean, it was just awesome. There's no other word to describe it. It was two mat technicians, just, everything made sense in that match, even the out of the ring stuff made sense. They made sense. And it was, the crowd was so into it. Before they even locked up, they were just standing there in the ring, and the crowd was just putting for that, just for that moment. And then when the match was over, you're automatically wanting to see another match. Hopefully it's an Iron Man match or something like that, because those two put on a clinic Wednesday, and I felt sorry for everybody else that had to follow that, because it seemed like after that match was over with, and then CM Punk come out right after that, and it's like you could tell the crowd they were drained from that first match. But that's come to be expected, when you have two people in the ring like that. So I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, and I see Matthew in the chat's asking, last time there was a time limit draw. I don't know about AEW, but I know we see them more often in the NWA because they have more time limit matches there. I think Thunder Rosa and Camille was a time limit match, right? I think that was a draw as well.
I can't remember.
I think
So, yeah, we do see them in other companies, but I don't think you see them very frequently in AEW, even though they do have time limits. But, yeah I agree. You don't see them very often. You guys, I think, Deb, you sent me a link to the picture of Bryan Danielson after the match. He was just beat to crap. Yeah. But he looked happy. He looked like, this is what I want to be doing. Like, he looked like, I don't know the guy. I've never met him. But from that picture and from the posts and from the interviews I've seen, he looks like he's very, very happy to be there doing the stuff that he's doing. I don't know where they go next. I'm like, if they're going to keep giving us this on a regular basis, man, I'm all in.
Yes.
But that wasn't the only cool thing. That wasn't the only cool thing on that show, man. Darby and Sting versus FTR. Deb, I know this is your favorite.
Oh my God. It was amazing. Yeah, that whole match was just, first of all, to see Sting at his age still be able to go at the way that he does. He doesn't show his age at all. And to be alongside Darby, and Darby continues to show like what his relentless attitude is all about. Every single match he has, he just puts it all out there, and he basically shows like he doesn't care what he has to do. And FTR, we talk about all the time that FTR is just no filler type of tag team. The whole match was just amazing, very hard hitting, good psychology. That was a very good match.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like FTR and Tony, I want to get your thoughts on this. Like, since they left WWE, I felt like they haven't really gotten a lot of traction. I mean, they have in some areas, but to me, they're legitimately one of the best tag teams in the world. I love their psychology. I love their old school mixed with the new school. To me, they have the right blend. They have my favorite blend. They're my flavor of tag team wrestling. And
Yeah.
I've seen them as the Revival in NXT, and then we've now seen them wrestle in AEW in person. And I'm super happy for those guys, but I don't know with the injuries and stuff what's going to happen next. But watching this match on TV, I was like, man, that's the shit. That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you, front row. FTR hasn't really had the they haven't had the momentum. They are one of the greatest tag teams in the world, not just in AEW, in the world. And and you've got another great tag team there in the Young Bucks, and you keep waiting for that match to happen, but they just for some reason, I mean, they've got all the right tools in place. They've got Tully Blanchard as their manager, which is perfect. They were teasing. Something was teased a few months ago about that, but you don't see anything more than that. I think something like that could work in AEW. But I think I think we're going to see some good things from FTR. But like you said, front row, the injuries that they've had, maybe they'll get some momentum going, and we'll see some good things coming from them because they definitely deserve it. They make every team that they wrestle in the ring better.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what people's contracts are, but for me, like, AEW has enough of a talent roster now where they could afford for FTR to take 3 to 6 months off TV and just heal, like really heal. That's been one of the biggest complaints about WWE is because of their road schedule. They don't have time. There's no off season, right? I think Tony Khan has the opportunity to differentiate himself as a company to say, you know what? We're going to give you 90 days to go and really heal up. Go to the gym, go to the physical therapist, even if they don't need surgery, give some people some time off. So when they come back, they're fresh. People are excited to see them. You're like, oh my God, I've been seeing these people in, whatever it is, however long. I would like to see them, leverage some of that extra talent to give people a little bit of a breathing room. But the other match that I really wanted to touch on, and this is what makes me excited about AEW, and then other companies do this too. Credit to WWE, they do it pretty frequently. Once again, the women main evented, right? And it was a world title match. So, of course, as a fan, you go, well, that's the match that should have main evented that show. That was a world title match. And I think Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa are two of the best signings. And not that CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, all that stuff, but the men's roster was already pretty strong. Those were big boosts to those rosters. For the women's roster, Ruby and Thunder are huge gets because they're going to help elevate and bring more people up. And you start to, like, Britt's awesome as a character, but in the ring, Thunder elevates her. So when you see Britt with another talent at the level of Ruby's, I love this match. I thought the match was great. I thought the interference by Jamie Hayter made sense. Let Britt win with some heel tactics. Keep that heat on Britt, and it doesn't. Ruby doesn't lose anything by losing a match here to the world champion, because it wasn't a fair win, right? So,
Right.
I don't know. What do you guys think? They're headed in the right direction, or could they be doing more?
I think they're definitely headed in the right direction. They are beginning to really build their women's division with very strong talent. I think they're doing a good job of pairing people up that are very complementary to each other.
Real quick, Deb, I have to touch on this. So Matt Rutland says, I can't get Ruby so hosted. Did you see Ruby's post from yesterday?
No, I did not.
So Ruby posted a video of some people at a concert, at a Rancid concert, singing. It was Ricky Morton and his son filming at the concert themselves in the audience singing Ruby's song, and they tweeted her.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, I can't, like, what is this world? This is amazing. It was really cool. And anyone who's met Ricky Morton, like, he's like the nicest guy. He's super, super cool. You guys saw him in Philly this last weekend.
Yeah, I saw him walking around. We saw it. We saw him in the ring. It was pretty great.
He's super nice.
It was a very surreal. That was another surreal moment to be standing there and going, "Holy crap! I'm watching Ricky Morton wrestle at ECW Arena. This is insane."
Yeah, I've run into Ricky Morton like a bunch of times at the hotels and stuff for the NWA, and he's just nice. Like, we sat and talked about snack cakes one day. We were at the counter buying snacks at the hotel, and we talked about our favorite snack cakes. Super nice guy. But I want to fast forward. So let's fast forward to Rampage. We'll talk about SmackDown in a minute. But Rampage is, yeah, Mrs. Front Row, last match. I think we've seen the Rock Roll Express's last match probably 6 or 7 times now. But let's move over to Rampage. So the opening match with Punk and Hobbs, I didn't know what to expect here because it was Punk's first TV match in 7 years, right? He had the pay-per-view match, but this was his first TV match. I didn't really know how Hobbs was going to react or how he was going to get or what the match was going to look like. So, Tony, you saw this match.
Yes, I did.
What were your thoughts?
CM Punk, he definitely still has it in the ring. He comes out, Hobbs comes out, then CM Punk comes out, and the match was probably what I would say 10, 15 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good match. It just makes you wonder what's going to happen. Is he going to go through all of Team Taz? I don't know, but it was a definitely good match. In fact, I just watched it last night when I came in. I was eating supper and I had that match on, and that's all I watched out of Rampage. I haven't watched the entire thing yet, but I did.
Okay, well, Deb and I'll bring you up to speed. I know Deb watched it because she watched it with us.
Yes.
So, Deb, we saw Punk, and I wasn't really sure, like, and to your eyes, do you think Powerhouse Hobbs rose to the occasion? Because it's a huge spotlight. Like, you're in the first TV match with CM Punk, and they're giving you the opening match to the show. Oh, and by the way, this was recorded after 4 hours of action on Wednesday. So you have to bring not only your A game, but bring the crowd back up from the finale of Dynamite.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Hobbs did a really great job of being able to fill those shoes, getting into that spotlight and living up to that moment. It was a great match. I think it's very clear that Punk seems to have a plan for really elevating the younger talent and getting more eyes on certain people.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. So if you watched Punk's behavior after the match, I don't think he said anything that specifically told us this, but it looked like he was congratulating Hobbs on on doing a good job. You could see Hobbs was following him, which he should. But man, he brought a lot of intensity, and I didn't think that he rushed or did anything that looked dangerous. You know, of course, you don't want to hurt CM Punk, but you've got to bring your A game because you've got to have a good match. So it's, you know, like I've never been in the ring to wrestle, so I don't know how to do that. But like it seemed like they did a good job. There was so towards the end of the tag match, we saw Jericho get beat down by the America Top Team guys, right? So here's where it gets real tricky for me, because when Ronda Rousey came in to the WWE, she came in as a professional wrestler with an MMA background. She did not come in as an MMA star. Yes, she is a household name, but she specifically came in to wrestle.
Right.
So we saw Junior Dos Santos, Paige Van Zandt, Vanderfort. We saw Arlovsky. We saw Jorge Masvidal and Dalton Rasta. So, and they were all in the ring with Jericho. And now these guys aren't trained pro wrestlers and girls. There was 2 girls there. But I think they did a really good job of beating Jericho and everybody up, because they should. They're like champions. Most of them have held championships in the UFC or in Bellator, or actually UFC. And I'll be interested to see where they go with this, because if you're actually, and I think they said that this originally was only supposed to be a one-off appearance, but it was so over that they decided to make a whole storyline out of it. I think they talked about that on Busted Open this morning. I don't know, Deb, what do you think they can go with this? And do you like or dislike this infusion of like MMA fighters?
Well, to be honest, I have never followed MMA or UFC, so frankly, I don't know who these people are. Like I don't really know their names. I still haven't memorized their names after them being on the show several times. I think Dan Lambert is doing a fantastic job on the mic. The promos that he's cutting are top notch. But to me, having those MMA people in there, it just falls flat to me, because I'm not a fan of MMA. I'm not invested in it. I don't really know who they are. So it doesn't click with me. And I'm really, a little concerned, because I don't really think it does anything for Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Like it's getting over these MMA guys that are coming in and looking very strong. But I think Ethan and Scorpio Sky are just getting lost in the shuffle of these other people, just, coming in and taking over that segment. So that's my biggest issue with it. It just doesn't click with me.
Yeah, I think Mrs. Front Row echoes your sentiments. I think step 1 was okay. Let's see where they go with it. I listened to Throwing Down, not Throwing It Down, Dave.
Yes, Dave.
With Natasha and no, sorry, Misha Tate.
You want to come over your house, or you lock the doors?
Hey, I don't want to heat with Misha Tate. All right. Politics aside, I'm not going to cause any problems. No, but I listened to Renee and Misha talk about this last week on their show, and it was interesting because Misha said a couple of the people, specifically Paige Van Zandt, who has the look, and she's a lifelong wrestling fan, like she really wants to be in pro wrestling, but she said she's just too nice. She doesn't have a big personality, and it's going to be really hard to get someone like that on screen to connect with an audience. Yes, she's an MMA superstar. Yes, she's a killer in the ring, and she looks good, but that's not going to do it. Like, you've got to bring a personality, like a Dan Lambert, who's bringing the personality. Your Masvidal has a good personality. We saw he's got a killer V-trigger. So it'll be, I think I would be interested to see if they don't cherry pick a few people out of that group to stay, and maybe the rest of them go back to where they were what they're doing before. The other thing I wanted to mention, not an AEW topic. So we've been focusing more on GCW lately. GCW has given us some really friggin' fun shows. They have a weird pay-per-view model. We don't get it every week, or like every other week we'll switch. Someone will get it and the other person will get it. But this week we saw Effie win the internet championship from Matt Cardona. Like he put his internet championship up from like a decade ago, right? Or more. There you go. So Effie, huge fan of Effie here. I think Effie is awesome. He's doing some really creative stuff in and out of the ring with GCW and outside of GCW. So I don't know where they go with this internet championship, but I think it's just really cool. What do you guys think about this, about what Matt Cardona specifically is doing?
I think Matt Cardona is at the top of his game right now. He is seemingly everywhere. He is doing a whole lot of stuff, and I've been listening to his MC True Long Island Story, and him not only recounting the chronology of the events of Zack Ryder, but then kind of bringing in the present stuff and talking about that and his evolution over the years. He's definitely at the top of his game right now.
Yeah, I agree. I watched that match that he had with Nick Gage, and I did not expect him to come out on top in that match. And ever since he has, it's like he's on another level. And I think that was a good thing to happen for GCW, for him to carry the belt. Ultimately Nick's going to get it back, I'm sure. But letting Matt run with it for a little while, bringing some spotlight to GCW. And I want to make a quick note. I saw Deb having some lighting issues over there a while ago, and I think she was needing some light tubes.
I'm pretty sure Seth is messing with me and playing with the smart bulbs.
Well,
so
good.
I'll have to get back at him.
Now you have a new entrance. We just have to add music.
Yeah, I've got ghosts.
Whatever you do,
that's it.
Whatever you do, I won't get it on film. If y'all are going to have a death match over there with some light tubes, get it on film. We'll have a Nation Corner exclusive.
But so that's the thing too. Like we thought GCW was just all death matches, and then last month we decided to just a friend of ours gave us a code. And I see Sean in the chat. I love GCW, and Sean is like me. Like we would really watch GCW. We watched it, and they did have one death match, but the other 2.5 hours were like fun, like super exciting, just great psychology and some acrobatics. Ninja Mac is one of my favorite guys now. This last pay-per-view, last week we saw Ron Funches in there. We saw Danhausen and, Alley Catch and just so many fun people. So like, I recommend folks give it a try, because we also saw in October, Nick Gage is going to go one-on-one with Minoru Suzuki. And that looks like it's going to be an interesting match. So I'll be seeing Minoru Suzuki here next Saturday in Charlotte at the PWX show. So that's going to be pretty cool. I think Matthew in the chat's going to be there as well, and some of the other Nation members. So if you see each other, go up and say hi. Was there anything else you guys wanted to cover? I know we didn't even talk about SmackDown. Actually, we will talk about SmackDown real brief. We're going to run a few minutes over because I wanted to ask your opinion on the Sonia and Naomi stuff. So we watched Sonia keep putting her thumb on Naomi. It started a few weeks ago with what looked like real. It started off as like their match was cut for reals. And we know that they were, because Thea Trinidad was on Twitter talking about it. But then they posted some video the same night of Sonya telling Naomi that they couldn't have their match. They ran out of time. And then the same again the following week. And then this week, Naomi's begging for a match and then went out to the ring and demanded a match. She was escorted out by security. Do you think, how do you think that they're dealing with like this sort of blending of reality of, because the basis of this is the women's matches were cut.
Right.
How do you feel about them using that as the basis of a storyline?
I'm not a fan of using that as an angle.
Well, I think it's realism. You're starting. They're inserting realism into an angle. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I really don't think it's smart to play with this, and make it an angle if that's what they're doing, because of you know your women's wrestling has been spotlighted in so many different companies, um, and for them to use this as a storyline, if that's what they're doing, I don't think it's a very smart thing to do. But Bully always says, he wants realism with his wrestling. He says it on Busted Open constantly. So, and for that, if that's what they're going to start doing, I would like to see them do that a lot more with other things. Bring realism into it. Don't insult our intelligence. But I'm interested to see where this is going to go with Naomi and Sonia. I enjoy seeing Sonia in her role as a general manager.
Yes.
She always looks amazing on screen, in her suit she wears and all that. So I'm anxious to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a delicate balance. It depends on the payoff. Like right now, I think, okay, if they're going to take that negative backlash on social media and actually reward people with screen time and hard-hitting matches and championships, and okay, fine. You're taking a negative and turning it into a positive. But to make light of it and then not do something with it, like if they give Naomi a couple of weeks on TV and then she goes away, well, that's terrible. That's not what we're digging, right? At least not for me. I know some folks on Busted Open were talking about her becoming part of the bloodline, and I think that's cool long term. But I don't think right now that's necessarily the way to go. I think you let her continue to fight this fight, and maybe some other people start to band with her. If you want to make it real, let them go on social media and just shit talk the company. Like, make it feel real. I mean, don't be adult, no adult language. There's still a family-friendly product, but you can go online and say, this is what happened backstage. You can post pictures. There's ways to tell the story. Look at what Becky and Ronda did. That's sort of my gold standard for how social media can be used to further a storyline. Do we even know that Becky and Ronda were friends? I don't know. I never saw. Like, they never let us see that. So, do I think that Naomi's match was cut or that her opportunity was taken away from her by Sonya Deville? No, Sonya's a wrestler. But if she goes on and says, Sonya's not really the boss, this person's the boss. Give me a name I've never heard before. A producer's name, whatever. So-and-so never brought this to the boss. Like, I sent a message to Vince and nobody relayed it. Tell me a story that I can buy into. I think that's where I'd like to see them go with it.
Yeah,
I agree.
that sounds like it. Yeah, I agree. That sounds like it would be a good plan. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Probably 85%, right?
Yeah.
We love you, Chris. All right, so anything else before we wrap up tonight? I know we've got a big pay-per-view tomorrow night, Extreme Rules. We really didn't have a lot of time to cover it, but Busted Open's done a ton of coverage on it all week. So go back and listen to their, 18 hours of coverage. But
really, really quick, Matt in the YouTube chat asked about what our thoughts are on the Dark Side of the Ring episode. I thought it was extremely well done. I felt just, heartbroken for him for the struggles that he went through. I myself, have a rough history of mental illness. So, based on, my experiences and watching that episode, I just want to say that anybody out there, if you're struggling with anything, there's like all of us have open lines of communication. There are hotline numbers, there are resources. Anybody in the LGBTQ community who is struggling, there are a lot of people out there that can help. That's all I want to say.
yeah, and to add to what you're saying too, across all our socials, we post a link to our Discord, and in the Discord, there's additional resources. There's people in there who may not be willing to discuss things on Twitter that would be willing to have more private conversations. We were talking to the nation in the Discord last week, and there were a number of people who expressed, that they had received some coaching and some support from people in that community. So go into the Discord. There's a bunch of people in there that, would be happy to support, us included, but there's like 150 people in there now. So definitely go check that out. So I see Mrs. Front Row's reminding me to like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe, folks. We're building our group. We're taking over the world very small chunks at a time. And Deb, where can everyone?
We are at Nation's Corner on Twitter and The Nation's Corner on everything else. I am at That's So Debonair. It's to pay homage to the wonderful Raven. And on Instagram, that's a little more complicated. Truth_resist_simplicity. So that's me.
Tony?
Yep. And you can find me on Twitter at Tony Justice AJFA, and you know what that means. And on Instagram, same handle. So yeah, hit me up. Let's go.
Cool. And I'm WW Front Row on Twitter. You can also find me on Tuesday nights. I moderate the NWA's YouTube channel for the Power Post Show, the NWA Power Post Show with the Bearded Trio. A lot of fun over there. They have a good group. Man, it's just a good group of people over there. We have a good spirited conversation, even though there's the occasional troll. All right, folks. Appreciate everybody watching tonight. We will see you all next week.